No, Judge.
The nine, maybe 9 o'clock, right? Or that the because of the switches and the connection. This morning, I thought she was gonna call. Ahorita platicamos. Ay. Wait, what did I do with my agenda? Wait, no. Sorry. Yes, sir.
All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Laredo College Fort McIntosh campus. It is approximately 5:31 p.m., and this is the Finance and Audit Committee meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 20th, and I call this meeting to order. I'll continue on with agenda item number 2, roll call. Jorge Delgado, present. Mr. Esteban Rangel. Ms. Karina Elizondo, I believe she stated that she'll be on Zoom, but she's absent at the moment. And Ms. Tita Cantuvela is absent. Joining us today, we're honored to have the presence of trustee Judge Mercurio Martinez. Thank you for joining us, Judge. Move on to agenda item number 3, the July 2024 financial report. Mr. Cesar Vela.
Good afternoon, members of the Finance and Audit Committee, Dr. Ramirez, Cesar Vela, VP of Finance and Administration for the record. Included with your board packet, you received a copy of the July 2024 financial report. We'll go briefly over the highlights. As of July 31st, we have recognized revenue of 82,363,919. That is approximately 10.3 million over what we had projected for the year. The reason for that is that we did receive additional funding, as we had mentioned in the past, of 2.7 million for the FAST program. We also exceeded our projected revenue for tuition and fees by 2.6 million for the year. We did have additional revenue of 1.3 million for interest. And then we have the increase in state appropriation revenue of 4.4 million that were currently allocated for new initiatives. So when we add up all those items, we come back to the $10.3 million revenue, excess revenue that we have collected for the year. For as expenses, the expenses for the year total 58,811,457. That's 81.71% of our budgeted expenditures. Right now at this point, compared to last year, we're pretty much on target. We are projecting that we'll have an additional $5.4 million in expenditures for the last month of operations. So we're looking to end the year with a total expenditures of $64.2 million. That'll give us a projected savings of 7.8 million. Again, the majority of those savings are coming in the salary line item, approximately 3.6 million. We do have about 1.9 million that will be saved in the contracted services line item, 690,000 in maintenance for equipment, and 356,000 in the student expenses. So again, out of the 7.8, 6.6 million are coming from those line items. We do have a couple of items that are still pending as we close out the fiscal year. One is obviously recognizing the expenditures that are attributed or in, to the pension plan and the health retirement benefits for retirees. We are just currently working on closing the fiscal year 2024 year, and we have received some of this information already from TRS and ERS. So we're currently working on closing out those accounts. We're also in the process of calculating the bad debt expense for the year, so that'll be an additional entry that needs to be recorded to our books. And as I mentioned, we do have 1 month of operations yet to record. So we are projecting to have preliminary numbers by the next board meeting, reflecting the potential savings that we'll have for the fiscal year. As far as the other funds for the Import-Export Center, we have a total of 83,102 going into the fund balance as of July 31st. We have revenues of 143,164 and expenditures of 69,802. Auxiliary services, total revenue for the year is 1.8 million. Expenses of 1,522,463 for a net increase to the fund balance of 357,659. The state and federal funds totaled for the year 29,954,406. Again, the majority of the federal funding coming through the Title IV programs. And then we are in the process of closing out the HERF funding. We did expense all the amount that had been allocated to the college. The last transaction that we had was the write-off of all those uncollectible accounts that for students that got impacted by COVID. So we looked at the accounts receivable accounts that we had during the 2021 fiscal year. So that amount totaled around 320,000 when we wrote off those accounts. The facilities master plan phase 3, as of July 31st, we have a balance of 5.2 million. We're currently working on the last 3 projects. Those projects are expected to be completed in early 2025. And those projects are the Lamar Bruni Vergara, the Law Enforcement Training Center, and the diesel shop expansion. We also are working with the more expansion for the welding lab areas. Again, all those projects are expected to be completed early 2025.
Chair recognizes Judge Martinez.
How are we doing with the Chica building there? I know it's been under major reconstruction, if I might say it, but how do we stand there approximately? And when do we expect for the overall completion of that facility?
So, Judge, that project we brought to the board for a request by the contractor for an extension on for time. It had been originally projected to be completed by the last week of November with final completion in December. They have requested an extension that will take us in through February of 2025. So at this point, the latest report that we got at a construction meeting was that the project was moving along. There's a couple of items that they're looking at right now, but nothing that would impact the revised completion date.
Thank you.
The tax collections for July stand at $44,945,078. That's 97.79% of our tax levy. As I mentioned at the last board meeting, we did make a correction. We had double counted for the levy of the frozen accounts, and therefore we had overstated that tax levy. That's what was causing the issue of the collection rate. We since corrected that, and we have also confirmed the numbers with the Webb County Tax Office as well as the appraisal district. So again, once we look at the revised tax levy of 45,958,564, we've collected 97.79% as of July 31st, which would put us in line with what we had collected back in 2023, which was at 97.75%. At this point, we are projecting that we will hit the 98% that we had budgeted for the year. The investment report for June 30th, 2024, we have a total of 120,614,830 in bank deposits. The investment pools total 20,678,846 for total investments of 141,293,676. We have the yields that were at that point on June 30th. The yields were for the demand deposits 4.44%. The Lone Star investment pool 5.46, and the FIT investment pool of 5.47. We have through the investment advisor, we have gone out and secured some CDs, and those transactions were completed during the month of July, so they'll be reflected in the July report.
Great.
And the last item that we have is just a quick update on the general operating fund balance. Currently, we have a net change to the fund balance of 21,869,847. Again, this is through July 31st. We are projecting that the change will be around 17 million for the year. And again, this is attributed to the additional revenue that we received during the fiscal year of 10 million, and the projected savings of 7 million for the year. Any questions on any of the items?
Thank you, Mr. Vela.
Thank you.
All right, yes, sir. We'll move on to agenda item number 4, approval of the annual subscription for the library Cersei Dinix Enterprise System. Mr. Cesar Vela, did I say that correctly?
That is correct, sir. This next item, they're asking the board for approval for the annual subscription for the library Cersei Dinix Enterprise System. This is the operating system that the college library utilizes to run their operations. The annual maintenance and renewal is in the amount of $97,095.24. The amount is budgeted in the 2025 fiscal year for the library. Again, this is the system that they utilize to do their transactions. It includes from inventory control to material booking, and the acquisition and fund accounting that is utilized by the library operations. Last year, this particular item was $90,828. So there's an increase of about $7,000.
Any questions from members of the committee? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Vela. All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 5, the ratification of emergency repair for Lerma Peña Chill Water Line. Mr. Cesar Vela and Mr. Huicho Tijerina.
Yes, members of the board, we are asking that the board ratify the repairs that were done to the Lerma Peña building chill water line. The total cost of the repairs totaled $71,500. We had to go and replace the chill water line in that building. The line ruptured, and we were trying to minimize the damage to the building. We did suffer some damage to the first floor ceiling. That has been repaired. And also, being that this building is a hub, the hub center for all registration activities, we started to also have issues with maintaining the temperature in this building. So we did have to move quickly on this particular building. so that we could get it up and running, for us not to impact, registration for the fall semester. Again, the total cost was 71,500 and is, entailed the complete, replacement on the shield water line for this, building.
Any questions from members of the committee? All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Vela.
Thank you.
We'll move on to agenda item number 6, approval of renewal of Laredo College property insurance. Dr. David Ariasola. Already did.
Good evening, members of the board. President Ramirez, Dr. David Azola, Vice President of Compliance and Risk Management for the record. Well, I'm here today to present the proposal for our property insurance and general liability, school leaders liability, law enforcement, cybersecurity, all packaged under USI. So the total for the premium for all of these insurances is $918,632, an increase of a little bit over 200,000 from last year. Maybe closer to 100,000. Not included in the 74 was a wind hail buy down premium that we paid last year that we're not going to pay this year. So the property insurance does have a wind hail deductible of 1%, subject to 1% per damaged building, subject to a $500,000 per occurrence deductible. General liability actually went down a little bit. The school leaders liability has increased significantly. A lot of that has to do with what happened in Uvalde. And you know, sort of across the board insurances, just like everything in, seems like in real life, everything has been going on. But this is a summary of what the premium covers. I have here Mr. Jim Brundage, who is representing USI and our safety and risk team. If you have any questions that I can't answer.
Just to correct the comment, the school leader's liability is more based off of the lawsuits that occurred for the institution, correct? The law enforcement liability is, the reason for the increase was for what
Okay.
happened in Uvalde.
Yes, that's correct.
What was the previous deductible for the expiring policy?
For the expiring policy, or which line?
You can come up here and just state your name for the record, please. Most of the, I guess, the deductibles is gonna be based off of the property insurance, correct, with
Correct.
regards to the 1%?
Jim Brundage with USI. You had for your wind hail deductible was $500,000 per occurrence last year, and it's increasing to 1% this year. All the other deductibles remain the same.
Okay. Now, with regards to the list that's on here, are we moving the auto from the TASB policy that we currently have to USI, or is it gonna stay with TASB?
It's going to stay with TASB.
Stay with TASB, okay. So then that 918 should decrease by 40,000, or the
No,
41,000.
the 918 is without the,
Oh, it's without the auto, okay. No. Any questions from members of the committee? No? All right. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Jim, for taking the time to come over here. We appreciate all your efforts, especially with the report that you put out. I can't be too mad because I know insurances across the board are getting a little ridiculous, but we appreciate all the efforts, especially looking out with other carriers to see as far as what we can do to save a buck, especially with the proposal with the deductible buy down, but not necessarily in the budget. So, but we appreciate it. Hopefully next year you could save us some money.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's approximately 5:49 PM, and we are adjourned for the Finance and Audit Committee meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Stand adjourned.
Have a safe trip, Jim.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Monday?
I always forget to say.
There.
Yeah, but the insurance, I kind of had a conversation. about that, that it's back.
Right.
Just with everything else, all skyrocketing and going up.
Which is true, and that, and they've been